How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Trick from 2019. This is directed by Patrick Lussier. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that. And as the front cover is quick to point out, he's the director of My Bloody Valentine. It's of course referring to the remake and not the original, but I still felt the remake was a fun slasher movie. Although not as good as the original, obviously, but a pretty cool movie. This movie stars Omar Epps, Adair, Kristina Reyes with Jamie Kennedy and Tom Atkins. And yeah, director of My Bloody Valentine and Tom Atkins is in the movie. Yeah, I see why I picked this up. Tom Atkins, you know him from Night of the Creeps, Maniac Cop, Halloween 3. A pretty cool actor, although I will say it's more a special appearance and he's not actually one of the stars, hence the with part. But it's still cool to see him, and he does bring a cool life to the movie, even though he's only in there for a little bit. But anyway, let's just jump right into the plot. This movie, you get a guy, Patrick Trick Weaver. You get his nickname is literally just the last half of his name, and it's kind of ironic that this movie was directed by a Patrick as well. Anyway, him and his friends are at a Halloween party. They play a game of spin the bottle, and when it's Patrick's turn, for apparently no reason, he just snaps. He snaps and he starts killing his friends right then and there. So, kind of odd for a slasher that he doesn't, find the people off to the side. He just jumps up, starts killing people in the middle of the room, spinning around, killing them, and eventually, one of the kids of the party stabs him with, I believe, a fireplace poker. Now, he's seriously hurt. He gets sent to the hospital where these cops come to, pick him up. And he escapes from the hospital. The cops chase him down, and they shoot at him, but he falls into the river, and they go, well, surely he must be dead. Well, I don't know. They investigate the incident in the days after, and they find a few strange things. Patrick, he had been wearing a pumpkin mask, one of those cool happy face on one side, angry face on the other side, flip it around type deals. But underneath the mask, he had on face paint. So no one that night saw his regular face, as either the mask or the face paint underneath. So they go and try to find a photo of him, and mysteriously, there's no photos of him. They try to get descriptions from him, give him to a sketch artist, and all the people at school, the teachers and stuff. They can't get a steady image from any of these sketch artists. They all look a little different. So there's no photo of him, and they don't quite know what he looks like. Well, then they go to his house, and they find that the address the school had on file is just a random dock somewhere, and there's no house, no one's living there, and no one's ever met the parents, because it was all done online. There is a value to doing things face-to-face, I suppose. So he's a ghost, They don't know who he is or where he came from, and no one even knows exactly how he looks. So there's a fun mystery element to it. Now, they assume he's dead, but a year later, he shows up again and starts killing people on Halloween night. A bunch of people are dead, but it can't be Patrick, right? Because he's dead. And then he shows up again the next Halloween, and the next, and the next. Every year on Halloween, he shows up and kills people, and it starts to become this thing that really wears on this cop, trying to find him on Halloween night. The cop's your main character, and he sort of becomes a Sam Loomis type deal. Every Halloween, he's out there eager to get Trick, and he becomes obsessed with it. As Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon would say, he becomes this killer's Ahab. And it is really, really wearing on him. Now, there's a few other things too. He thinks it's Trick, and he's determined to believe that. Now, a lot of people think it's a copycat killer. You know, someone who saw Trick and is trying to mimic him and do more stuff. But if it is really Trick, you know, he's been stabbed and shot, and now he's up there killing people as if nothing ever happened. If it is him, there might be a supernatural element. And this is one thing I really like that isn't used too often, is the idea that it may or may not be supernatural, but it's not super obvious which way it is. Throughout most of the movie, up until you find out what Trick's deal is, you have no idea if it's supernatural or if there's some real-world explanation. And, yeah, that is very rare. The only other example I can think of off the top of my head is the Stephen King novel, The Outsider. But I really do like where it's anybody's guess if there's magic in this movie or not. And they do pitch it where you're like, I don't know. Oh, another one would be that Frailty with Matthew McConaughey. Kind of does that too. Different type of movie, though. But anyway, yeah, you don't know if he's magic, legitimately. And it does build up a legend. And I really do like, you know, that element of the possible magic. But I also really like that this feels like a really cool version of, like, say, the Halloween sequels, where by the time this movie gets going, Trick has been really established as this thing, and the cop that's the main character is really going after him. And it feels like, you know, a 5th or 6th movie in the first movie, but done really well. So, you know, it's like you really feel the sense of rivalry like Loomis had with Michael in parts 4 through 6, you know, but right here in part 1. And that was really cool. Now, it does have a few flaws, though. First and foremost, Trick, when he kills people, he goes super fast like a ninja. And I'm not really a big fan of these, you know, kills that are with too much ease, you know. You really want to feel the weight of something that's happening, you know. I mean, like, take a look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when the one character's hitting the other with a broom, and, you know, it's not just like, conk, you're knocked out. He had to really keep whacking her, and there was some realism in that, how hard it was, you know, for something to happen, and where people, you know, get knocked down, but they don't die right away, and you feel the reality there, you know, the hardness, and you can't just flip around and kill people all willy-nilly. And that did bug me a little bit, that he just, you know, spins around and kills people like a ninja, you know, and I'm like, that doesn't feel as real, you know. But I know some people say, oh, that's cool, I like it, so if you like it, to each their own. But I felt that was one of the bigger flaws. The other flaw, you get your final girl character. Now, this movie focuses a lot on the police to the point where it almost becomes a procedural cop movie. There is a final girl style archetype character there, and she's introduced at the beginning. She's one of the people that survived Trick's initial party, and she's, of course, traumatized by that, but also her father has recently fallen off the roof of this building, and it's become town gossip whether he fell by mistake or if he jumped, and he's in a coma in the hospital right now, and that's making her, you know, really sad, of course. And you do get a little bit of her in the beginning, but then it focuses so much on the cop that by the time she came back, it took me a minute to go, wait a minute, who is this character? Oh, yeah. And then at the end, she becomes, you know, one of the major cast, and I'm like, okay, she got put off to the side way too long, you know, I almost forgot who she was. And she's a cool enough character, just, you know, needed to be incorporated into the rest of the screen time. But anyway, despite that, it's still pretty good. It builds up to a cool finale. There's a Halloween party at this church, and Tom Atkins is showing a movie, which is of course Night of the Living Dead, because every horror movie where they watch a movie, they're always watching Night of the Living Dead. And then of course around the church there's this big Halloween maze, and there's people in costume, and you don't know which one's Trick or not, you know. And yeah, I do like the finale, you know, you really do get into it. But like I did say, there's a few problems. But overall, a pretty good movie. I like the idea of doing a movie that's like not just Halloween, but like Halloween 4 through 6, but reinventing the concept a little bit. I like the mystery behind the character. You know, I like the rivalry. It's pretty good. Now, when you do get to the end, it was a little bit of like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I'm not sure how this works with the tone. But once I was over the initial reaction, I'm like, okay, well, that does make sense. And I did grow to really like it. But at first, when you do see what all's up, you're like, okay, I don't know if that works with the whole element set up before. But I think it's overall good. And there's going to be some people that do really like the ending. But overall, it's a really good movie. Not the next hidden classic or anything, but I did really like a lot of this movie. You know, there were some faults, but I did really like a lot of it. So if you guys get a chance to find it, I'd say it's good. I mean, don't pay $1 million for it, but it's a pretty good movie. Not the next classic, but a pretty good movie. Anyway, I'll put a relevant playlist at the end of the video. I'm doing Halloween movies all October long, and I actually have more than 10 things in this playlist now, so we're building it up. I do about 95% horror on this channel, so if you like that, I'd recommend sticking around. To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping out the channel. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. More Halloween content all October long, and the playlist will be at the bottom. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon.